Hey guys, Will and Basil here with Grayson Hobby, and today we're going to go over a quick little thing about the Grayson Wizard. If you purchase from us, this is kind of like the instructional video for you because there's no paper manual for this guy.
Alright.
So we're going to show you how to get it set up and out of the box and flying.
Alright, so what we're going to do in this video, we're going to open the box like just Will said. We're going to get it all set up, put the props on, make sure they're on the right way, secure the wires, and then, bonus feature, we're going to actually go fly it, and Will's going to fly in the parking lot.
Show you the different flight modes.
Line of sight. So that's what we suggest for beginners, is do line of sight. Alright, so let's get to it. Okay, so this is in response to all the emails we're getting, and people don't really know how to use it. They want a paper manual, but we've kind of done a lot of things differently. And let's face it, we do kind of do a little quick start, and what do people do with this? They throw it away and then ask us how the heck they... One disclaimer, this is not going to be for other vendors. This is only going to be exclusively to the Grayson Hobby one, because Will does custom tuning to these if you get the silver or the gold package.
Yeah.
So what we say is only true to ours, and what you see on another video on other vendors is not going to be true to this.
Yes, these are configured from here, from Grayson Hobby. These are not going to be the same configuration. If you try to use the same switches and all that out of the box on one that you purchase elsewhere, it's not going to work. They are not configured out of the box. We set those before we ship them.
So here we go. We have a box.
First things first, you're going to see a whole bunch of stickers when you get them. I like to make as many notes as possible. I am regarding the 4-cell here. Some people say you can run 4-cell on it all day long. The video transmitter is a linear back. Go into too much information, but the regulator on it is not really designed for 4-cell. If it sits there on the table while you're setting it up, getting used to it with the battery on it, you can burn out the video transmitter. We get lots of emails, people looking for replacement video transmitters from using 4-cells. That is why we put that on there. Use at your own risk. If you just want to run 4-cell, go for it, but we do not warranty a VTX that's been used with a 4-cell battery.
The thing flies perfect on a 3-cell. I've been flying it for about a month and a half on a 3-cell. It goes plenty fast for me.
If this is your introduction to FPV, freestyle, racing, whatever you want to do, stick with the 3-cell to get you going. It comes with a 3-cell battery. Fly it as it is. Move to 4-cell later. 4-cell increases RPMs, amp draw, things burn out.
The tuning is not even set up for...
Tuning is not set up for 4-cell
right.
box.
So what's going to happen? It's going to get little...
It'll get oscillations, yes.
Which is on a 4S, because there's program for a 3S.
Yeah, you get an extra 30% thrust.
Right.
So...
Alright, so we digress, but anyways, that's a sticker.
So that's the 4-cell there.
No 4S.
First thing, never power without the video transmitter installed, or the video antenna. That's so you don't burn it out. Second one, remember to mount the antennas for the radio externally. That's this video right here going over. That's what we say there.
Right.
This particular one has updated LEDs on it. The very first batch or two of the Wizards, they needed fiber washers under the motor so they didn't short out and actually cause fires and stuff like that. Something every single one that ever shipped out from here has been done, but I know other places people have issues with, but this is version 2 LEDs. We have them now, so they don't need the washers. And then this is mode 2. You'll see random stuff here. Gold is either going to be gold or silver. This right here, this 1-2, that's just so I know what profile I shipped on your quad.
That's why if you have a question...
Yeah, we're probably going to ask you to get a picture of the box or what information is on the box there. It's just little back-end notes for me so I know what was done to your quad before we shipped it, what profiles on it, what version, etc. And there'll probably be more notes as we move forward for multiple batches.
Crack it open here.
If we're ready to fly, you'll get the box and you'll get props. There's 2 sets of props, regular and reverse. So let's get this thing open here. I'm going to go ahead and tear into this.
Oh, your pretty stickers.
Yeah, whatever.
Right,
nobody's going to read that.
Yeah, no one reads it anyway.
Okay, so let's get this thing open. Here, little foam things. Again, this is unboxing. So you got your transmitter here. Here's our card. Basically, who checked it out, setting configuration on it, and a quick start guide as far as the switch B and switch C functions, what they do, if it does have air mode or not enabled. Depending on what model you get, this is for the Wizard, they're all going to have air mode enabled on Horizon and Acro. But that's that right there, quick checklist showing what we did. So get that out of the way. These are the stock chargers. That's what they come with. They are for an excuse to be ready to fly. I don't recommend these. I always recommend getting a hobby grade charger.
Alright, so the battery is on the charger.
Yeah, so we're going to use our charger here, but this is what you're getting. You're getting the charger, charge cord, some zip ties here, I guess spare zip ties for the motor and for the antennas.
Antennas, yeah.
Foam pads. Most of them are not going to be installed. There was a few that actually were pre-installed, but Eachine has decided not to pre-install them anymore. It just keeps the box a little bit thinner, less likely to damage the radio.
Right, and you do not skimp on these. These are very important.
Yeah, put them on.
They will save your quad, and We have spares too.
Prop wrench here, and the factory antenna, and the prop nuts. And last but not least, spare screws. So if you need extra screws, if any back out or anything like that, you'll lose them over time. You get spare screws.
You will lose these because one day you look at your quad and go, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we tighten them up before they leave.
I'm missing 5 screws.
Definitely check them every so often. Vibration, any bent props, anything like that will transfer vibration, and screws will get loose and fall out. The 4 AA's we're going to put in the transmitter.
So this is going to be a comprehensive video manual.
Yes, this is everything. I'm going to go ahead and put the antenna on just so I don't forget down the road, because that's something that's easily forgotten.
Because that was number.
That was the first thing open in the box.
Yes.
Before you could open the box.
So there's our antenna going on right there.
Antenna there.
So use any tools? How tight? Or anything like that.
I do it by hand, and then the little wrench it comes with, you can snug it a little bit. You don't want to over torque it,
because if you do, that little carbon fiber will crack. Ask me how I know. I cracked mine.
You can also pull the actual brass piece can get broken apart, but you can use the little wrench. Tight it. Just snug it up just a hair.
Just do a hand tight and just do like a quarter turn or even an eighth of a turn with that wrench.
Nah, I mean literally just snug.
Yeah.
Just make sure it's snug and not loose. One thing, guys, the prop nuts on these things, they have self-tapping or self-locking nuts on these. The nylon has to be threaded first. If you don't pre-thread these things, they're really, really hard to put on because of the prop guards.
Oh, in English, what does that mean?
Well, basically, before you put a prop on it, make sure you get these things threaded down. You'll see they kind of stop, and you see it's not all the way down. Yeah. Pretty much what I do is I just hold the motor and pre-thread them.
So you're holding the motor, the bare motor. You're not using any tool, because then you end up...
Well, just the tool it comes with.
Well, I mean, you're not using any tools.
No, don't ever stick like a pliers or anything like that. Yeah, you'll damage the motor.
Copper windings.
Yeah, you'll damage the motor.
He's not doing that hard. Just your simple thumb holding it and then tighten it down.
But if you see there, see how now the motor's coming through?
Yeah.
Now that means we have a threaded prop nut.
So basically you want this prop, or you want the shaft of the motor going all the way through the nut.
Yeah, you're pre-threading it. That way it's easier to put on later.
All right.
These can be really hard to tighten with the motor guards in there.
Yes, they can. All right, so do that to all 4.
Yep. One thing to keep in mind, you're going to have 2 black and 2 silver.
Oh yeah, this is important.
The reason why, these are regular threads, these are reverse threads. When you look at the motors, you'll see an indention drilled in the tip of them right here. No indention.
Oh my goodness, how long have I been flying? I didn't notice that. Okay.
So the silver ones, or regular right-hand threads, are going to go on the front right and also the back left. These are the 2 without the little hole drilled in it.
Holy cow.
And the black one,
I just learned something,
is going to be the reverse thread. So just to show you there. So basically that's what you got there. You're going to have silver, silver, black, and black. You're not going to be able to put 2 silver in the front, 2 black in the back unless you get aftermarket screws or something like that.
Right. Okay, so, cool.
I had a couple people ask me about that, why they didn't line up. So that's
Alright, so we got black and black, silver and silver. So now we're going to thread all these through.
We're going to go through and thread them all the way down. Next thing we're going to do, the foam pads, like Basil was saying, don't skimp on these. They really do help. So the foam pads, you just peel a little thing off here on the bottom side.
And do this before you fly, because once you fly, you're going to get all dirt and grime down there, and then you have to use rubbing alcohol to clean it off. Yeah,
actually, I mean, if you have rubbing alcohol or anything like that, you don't want to wipe the purple, but if you do have something to clean the pads, that'd actually be a little better, because they'd probably hold a little tighter.
Yeah. But don't get it rubbing alcohol in there, because then you'll be in the world of hurt.
Yeah.
All right. So that's 2. How they look right there.
Alright, so the next one, I'm just going to move these back a little bit.
There's 3.
Now, I tend to put them farther out. You could put them more in the middle, but I think closer out to the
further out the better, because if you go in the middle, they end up having flex.
Yeah, and if you hit hard enough, you'll still bounce.
Arms will flex. The arms, yeah. So far as out you can, but you don't want to go over the wires.
Basically right behind the wires.
Yeah.
And that's all there is to it. You just press it down. I usually just kind of put it on the table.
So that we'll call this step 3.
Yep. All right.
I forgot what 1 was. I know 2 was putting those strings on, so we'll make up step 1. All right, step 3.
So first things first, we have our antenna on just to make sure.
That was step 1. Yeah.
No point, just to recap, put your antenna on just to make sure you don't accidentally plug in that battery and blow out your VTX, okay? So antenna's on, foam pad's on, prop nuts pre-threaded. One thing before we even put the props on, I do want to go over, and you saw in the box that we did say, make sure you mount your antennas externally. The radio antennas is what we're talking about. They are going to come
let's see.
down in there.
So that's how they come from the factory, or that's how they fit in the box, right?
Yeah, most of them are actually
so
just kind of sitting in there like that. But you can't have those flopping around when you're flying.
Right, because then that's going to get broken by the propeller. All right, so those are the receiver, which is going to talk to your transmitter.
Yeah.
So those are very important not to get cut.
And this is where the zip ties come in play.
All right. Scissors are not included. So this is step 4.
All right, so I'm going to put my antennas. Now you can put them in multiple places. I'm going to run them right here. I've done this on several quads. They've been pretty good. Basically, I'm going to zip tie them to the post here, so they're sitting like that. I know some people actually run them down through here and then run them besides the arms. That would be okay too, but
that looks like a disaster waiting to happen right
well, if you run it underneath through there, but it's a lot of work to do that. So the easiest way to do it that's going to work is right there.
Now,
and then,
ideally, you want these going in different directions to get the full.
Yeah, that's.
But that we're not doing this here. We're going to just put in the same direction for simplicity.
Yeah, I mean, you could run one like that and one like that if you really want to.
That's ideally you want.
You'll see there's a gap between the frame and the standoff there.
If you keep it still, I can see it.
It's kind of tight, so
yeah.
There we go.
So take your time with this step because this is important. These are all important.
Yeah, we wouldn't be telling you to do it if you didn't need to do it. So there's that, and then I'm going to run a third one down. What I'm going to do is actually push these inwards. One, it gives it kind of a little V shape there, and two, so the props don't come across and hit the antennas, because if they're sitting on the outside, that's in the way of the prop guys. So make sure you put them to the inside. Yeah. So now our antennas are mounted. We're here. We're getting close. We're almost done. All right?
You can see there's not many steps to this thing, really.
No, there's not. There's really not.
What we got here?
Well, now we got our 2 bags of props.
So we got 2 bags. 5, 4, 3.
And then 5x4x3R, which is reverse. All right, so we're gonna need 2 of the reverse props. The reverse props are gonna go where the reverse prop nuts are.
Basically, it's the black ones.
Yeah. Yeah, if you see the motor with the dimple in it on the Wizard, or the black prop nut, that's those.
Dimple is reverse.
So the reverse ones are going there and there because they spin inwards towards the center of the quad. The 5x4x3 are going to go on the front right and back left. Now I'm just putting these on top. They do have to go down onto the shaft. But these actually spin counterclockwise, looking down on them. A lot of guys ask, hey, how do I put the props on all the way? Yeah, this is a big question, and this is important right here. The prop itself, Dow props don't do this as much, but this particular prop, it's very, very tight on the hub. So what you gotta do is you kind of have to put a little pressure on it and make sure it goes all the way down.
Yeah, don't drill them out.
Yeah, don't drill them out, don't modify them. I mean, if
we've had some customers, they couldn't figure it out and they drilled them out, and they ended up.
They are tight. The reason they're tight is so they stay centered. If they're slop, they're not going to be centered.
And they wobble and wiggle and vibrate. So
basically, when the prop's down, it can't be all the way up there. It has to be all the way up against the face. So you'll see the face, the flat spot here. Just no need to drill it.
Push through.
So if you just kind of rotate a little bit, that little lip will eventually just wear down.
So that one's tough.
Yeah, this one's really tough.
All
right, so the props are on. Nice and tight, they're not sloppy or any way. If you ever put a prop on and it's sloppy feeling, don't use that prop. You want it tight on the hub.
Right. Now we're going to put on our prop nuts. Yep. Now these are called auto or self-tightening,
yeah,
right?
Self-tightening.
So what that means is explain it. So
well, as the motor's rotating, it's going against the direction, so it's helping keep the prop tight.
So in the old days, when they weren't self-tightening, if you have a prop nut that was loose, it would go and it would go into infinity. We got one on, and you'll notice there's a little bit of the actual motor shaft exposed there. That's motor locked down all the way onto the shaft, tightened up. And then we're going to go to the next one. Pretty much just kind of grab the motors by the sides and hold it. Don't use a tool. Don't use any kind of pliers.
Yeah, don't stick anything through it. You will damage the motor, and it will never fly good because of that.
Right.
So now we got the props on. One thing I do want to mention, you got to make sure you tighten the props down, because if you can slip the prop on the hub, it's going to slip in the air and it'll make a screeching sound. You can actually damage the prop can actually break because of that. So make sure you got them nice and snug to where the motors are not going to spin. So basically just kind of go through that one time. That one's actually a little loose.
This one you actually want to put some pressure on, right?
Yeah, you want to put a little pressure on it, make sure it's torqued down for the most part. Not crazy to where you're going to crack the prop, but enough to where the prop's not going to spin.
Right. Now this is another problem email we get. People end up cutting these these wires.
These get cut off.
I've seen this one cut off.
Oh wow. You notice you got these wires dangling kind of thing?
Which way do you put it? Because I put mine facing the front.
I usually put it facing the front and then I wrap it backwards.
That's what I do too, yep.
Because it takes up all the slack.
Right.
And then the balance lead, if you don't have a LiPo checker, the little LiPo alarms.
Which you should.
Yeah, you should definitely, because the Wizard doesn't have a pre-soldered V-bat or anything like that, or a buzzer on it, I would definitely recommend one of these and then mount that, because it does two things. One, it keeps this secured, and two, when you strap down the battery strap with it, it actually keeps the battery from sliding because it's grippy to the strap.
Right. And three, it tells you your voltage and gives you your alarm. How about that? The real idea of it is the whole reason of that LiPo alarm is a
minor detail.
Yeah.
But everyone's a little different on that one.
So notice how compact and how clean and how organized all the wires are. Nothing's flopping around. This is not going to, once those get connected, they're not going to get in the way of the propeller.
Notice we're not plugging this in yet because the radio's not on.
Good point. Do not power it up in the house on your first time. Go outside.
Yeah. One thing to check is the balance of the battery. So these little tabs right here, for best performance, you always want to make sure the quad's balanced. If it's sitting like that, then you need to move the battery forward. If it's sitting like that, move the battery back.
That's called center of gravity.
Yep.
So that one looks like it's going a little forward.
Might just be me holding it.
No, a little forward. Yeah. So what you want to do, we want to move the battery back. Keep moving it back just a little bit until it's a perfect. There, that looks good right there. All right, so here we are outside. Got the quad ready.
Yep, we got the Wizard 220 ready.
So explain what you did real quick again.
All right, so first thing, we got the LiPo installed with the CG set right towards neutral. Balance plug is either strapped down somewhere. In this case, it's on a LiPo alarm.
So notice that little guy is not going to come out and get cut right there.
Yeah, otherwise that's going to get cut off.
Right.
You know, battery straps or battery wire secured, so it's not in the way or anything like that.
All right, you got your translucent props. These are the dowel props.
Yeah, these are some dowel props on this one.
Okay. So. All right, antennas are out of the way like we showed you earlier. And that's it. So I noticed that you don't have your goggles on, so.
Don't have my goggles because first flight, you always want to do line of sight. Don't break out the goggles until you know everything's good to go.
All right, so this is our first flight with the Wizard here out of the box. So what do you do now?
So this is going to be arming switch, and this is going to be your flight modes.
So arming switch, what's that mean?
This is going to arm or disarm the motors.
Okay.
And then this is going to be
So it's not going to turn them on, it's going to turn on the power switch.
Yeah, this is making the motors live to where they would spin.
Right, so they're, I guess, live.
There's 3 modes here.
All right.
That's your arm disarm. This is your 3 modes. You're going to have angle, which is going to keep you from flipping. It's going to be your leveling mode.
It's great beginner mode there.
The second one is called horizon. The motors will spin in this mode, like you'll see there. So that's the motor spinning. An air mode. This one has no leveling whatsoever. This is pure acro.
This is the mode that you need to be in when you're trying to. This is the quickest you get to this mode is the better.
Yes.
But nothing wrong with the other 2 modes, and actually they're good for beginners.
Yep. So to start out, so what we're gonna do, and the other switches don't do anything. Everybody asks, the switches don't do anything unless you program otherwise. Arm, flight mode. So throttle down, because if your throttle's up and you go to arm, nothing's gonna happen.
All right.
So basically,
throttle down first.
Throttle down.
Switch.
Arm it. So you got it on, and then you're gonna take off. All right. Angle mode. See, I'm banging the sticks. That's full tilt one way or the other. So I can't really flip.
It's not gonna go upside down. So that's about, what's that degrees you have it set for?
I believe it's either 40 or 45.
All right, so it's not gonna go past 45 degrees at maximum. So if you're trying to do a loop or flip or roll, this is not this mode.
This is like either panic mode, like I lost video, or learning to fly.
I do land in this mode when I get down because
it makes it. Well, another thing is in this mode the motors die. So if you cut the props or you cut the throttle, the props aren't spinning. If you're in the second mode, which is this right here, you go to land, you'll see here how it spools up because it's trying to fly.
Right.
That's normal.
Now the second mode is
this is the second mode. This is horizon mode.
All
yes.
right, yes.
So
again, switch wouldn't be right in the middle.
So we're gonna start over.
All right.
Arm, position 2. You'll see the motors are spinning very quietly, but they are spinning.
Now here's a question: can I change modes in the air?
Yes.
All right. And actually, I do that all the time. I just want to let you hear it from the Wizard, the Wizard of quads.
All right, so this is horizon mode, okay?
Now this will flip.
Let me get away from this branch real quick.
All right, so we're still doing line of sight here. We're still doing line of sight. We got no goggles.
So you'll see it's wanting to level, but at the same time, it is coming back level. But if I go past level, it will flip.
Didn't get that.
Oh, sorry.
There you go. So all we were doing, we're sitting out here in a small little parking lot and we're just playing around with it, just getting the feel of it. We're not doing crazy 100-mile-an-hour runs.
I'm over the grass, not the concrete, a little closer to the concrete than I'd like to be. But 2, I'm not flying 100 feet in the air. I'm keeping around eye level or about 10 feet or so.
Yeah.
Just so that way if something happens, it's not going to break anything.
Nope.
Ready?
There you go. So I can see your hands going, your right thumb is going all the way to the right and you're cutting throttle.
Yeah, I'm cutting throttle to make it a tighter roll. I mean,
Right.
you can roll without it, but with the branches here and all that,
Yeah.
with power on it, it's going to roll much wider.
So this is something to start out with in horizon mode here.
Now the third mode,
To be in a big field for this guy.
see how
this
it's
mode.
not leveling anymore?
It's just,
That's...
I always describe this best as like being on ice, because it's not going to stop. It's
All right, the one thing to keep in mind is in the first mode, if you cut throttle, props turn off, okay? That means you lose control of the quad. If you just cut throttle, it's gonna free fall.
And then you have to almost give 110% other to recover.
That, you're more likely to have an accident in the air if you cut the throttle. So really I advise, once you get used to the basic flying, get into that second mode if nothing else. That way, if you cut throttle,
They still
you
spin.
have full control of the quad. You can move it around while you're no throttle. The first mode is really more of a landing, panic recovery, or just learning to fly mode. Now, one thing to keep in mind, like I did say earlier, in the second and third mode, air mode is active. Air mode is constantly trying to level the quad. So if you're flying it and you land it in air mode on the ground, the motors will spool up, whether you have the props off on the bench or you're flying. Once the throttle's been up past a certain point and it comes back down, it's going to slowly spool up the motors, trying to find level. It's trying to fly. So either just kill the motors or put it back in angle mode to stop.
Right.
Yeah, whenever you're about to crash, kill the motors.
Kill the motors. Yeah, better to fall out of the sky and not break.
If those motors are spinning and they're stuck on something, it's going to either burn out a motor, burn out a speed control, or burn out the power distribution board somewhere.
Yeah.
So you always want to make sure you kill the motors. Now, one thing to be said, if you're up in the air and you accidentally kill those motors, you have to watch your quad tumble to the ground because it's not going to rearm. It has to be flat.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
don't hit that kill switch until you know you're in.
Right.
Alrighty, so that's how you get your Wizard out of the box with the Grayson Custom Tune and to flying. Next step on video 2 of this series, Will, what are we going to do?
Well, the next video we're going to do, more specifically the goal package, as far as a couple tips and tricks that will apply for both the silver and the gold, but also going into being able to change profiles on the gold without connecting to the computer. So I got a couple back-end things that you can do through stick commands. One, to calibrate your gyro if it's drifting any, it helps center it a little bit, because it does happen from time to time. And also being able to change one of the 3 different profiles that I put on these things before they ship.
Alright, so with that being said, we appreciate all the comments we can get on this video, so when we do part 2, we can kind of go over and touch base on anything that we missed. So give us a thumbs up and definitely comment below. Stay tuned for part 2.
Again, guys, this is for the Grayson Wizard. If you bought it from somewhere else, don't know what to tell you on that one.
Alright, thanks for watching.